Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tia if you're new here, and I am so happy you're here. Today we are going to be picking my April TBR with my TBR jar. I repurposed this little tea strainer jar thingy as my TBR jar, and I have added all new prompts in here. This looks like, I feel like there's nothing in here, but I put like almost 30 prompts in here. I'm gonna pick between 6 and 8, I think, to put on the TBR because I like to have kind of a wider range of books to pick from on my TBR. Also, my bookshelf is kind of here out of frame, and then I have a whole stack of other new books. So I'm just gonna kind of pull from them. And then I also have a bunch of books that are on my radar digitally. So I have a bunch of books that I have right now that are ready on Libby. And then I have more that I'm ready to check out physically from the library, and then also books that I have on my Kindle. So I'm going to pick from both my physical stack and then also the library and digital reads I have. So I'm picking from all over. Okay, so let's pick the first one. I'm like nervous. Okay. Read the highest rated book you own on Goodreads. Okay. Slay. So sorry, I'm sorry I said that. I'm trying to stop saying slay because it's like, I think it's kind of weird now, but sometimes, you know, once you start doing something you like can't stop. So sorry about that. I also have this big stack of books that I have purchased in the last like couple of weeks because yeah, I do have a problem. All right, I have a book buying problem. I'm thinking that I just got The Keeper by Tana French, and I feel like this could be a definite contender because I know people love her. Okay, this is 4.28 on Goodreads. That's really high. So this is a definite contender. I also have Homeseeking by Karissa Chen. Let me check that one. This is 4.20, so less high than that one, but also a very high rating. Let me check some of my book read, or sorry, not book reads, what am I even saying? My holds that I have on Libby. Okay, this one might be it. Lonesome Dove has been on my radar for a very long time. Okay, Lonesome Dove is 4.58. I knew this was gonna be the highest one. I don't have a physical copy of this one yet. I'm really wanting to get the mass market paperback version. I think it is stunning. So, but I do already have it from the library, so I really shouldn't buy a physical copy. But okay, for highest rated book that you own, I'm using this one loosely because I have it from the library, so I don't like own it, but you know, I'm using creative license here. I am going to read Lonesome Dove. This is a classic novel about the American West. We are following two Texas Rangers, and they go on a cattle drive, I believe from Texas to Montana, and we are following this story. I believe this is a series. I'm not sure, but this is a classic that is high on my list. I am not kidding when I tell you that everyone in my life has told me to read this. It is a thick boy. This is like 800 pages, I believe, but I have heard that it is like sensational. So I cannot wait to read that one. I feel like there's an adaptation too. Let me look that up. Okay, there is. It's one season. It's from 1989. Oh, a Western from the 1980s. Okay. Yeah, I'm very excited. So the first book on the TBR is Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. Let's go. Okay. I have one word title. She doesn't want to focus. I have a few options for this one. First, I have Sunburn by Chloe Michelle Howarth. This is a Irish literary fiction novel set in the 1990s, and we are following Lucy, who is the daughter of this like farming family in rural Ireland, and she goes to Catholic school and has like this big group of girlfriends, and then she has one friend, Susanna, who she has very strong feelings for, and this is like a sapphic coming of age novel in rural 1990s Ireland. I got this when I was on my trip in Boulder at the Boulder bookstore, and I mean, this cover is gorgeous. And I actually did start this one last month, and then it was kind of set in summer and it was warm, and I was like, I want to read this when it's a little warmer. So I don't know about this one because it's like 40 and raining where I live. So this one's a maybe, a one-word title contender. Next I have Frankenstein, which I also is a classic that I've really been wanting to read, but I do think I want to save this one for when it's like October. I don't know, tell me if that's silly and if I should just read it. Okay, I also used this for the last one, but I do have Homeseeking. This is a historical fiction novel set in 1947 China and then present day 2008 Los Angeles. And we are following Haiwen and Suchi, who were childhood friends and loves, and then they were separated by the war in China and then see each other at a supermarket later in 2008. So we're going back and forth in the timeline. I think that this one is going to be gorgeous. I think it's going to legit break my heart. So I'm thinking maybe I will add this one to the TBR because I would love to read a historical fiction, and I'm also have been in the mood to like kind of cry. So I'm thinking I might do this one. Okay, it's settled. The second book on my TBR for the one-word title prompt is Homeseeking by Karissa Chen. Prompt number 3. I feel like it's kind of hard to get around in here. Okay. A translated work of fiction. Okay. It just doesn't want to show you guys the labels, but that's what it says. A translated work of fiction. I'm actually very excited about this one. I have a couple that are on my like immediate TBR I really want to get to. So the first one is The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. This is translated from French. This is a classic novel and it is gigantic. It is like 1,200 pages, I think. So that's a little ambitious. I do really want to read this one. We are following Edmond Dantes, and he is wrongfully imprisoned by these 3 men, and we follow this like big like treasure adventure hunt after he gets out of prison, I believe. He goes to find this treasure on the island of Monte Cristo, and then he's also trying to like get revenge on the people that incarcerated him and like clear his name. So I have heard, this was written in the 1800s. It is a very beloved classic. There are many adaptations, and there's a new adaptation out, I think on PBS, with Sam Claflin from Daisy Jones and the Six that I do really want to watch. So I have heard that even though this was written in the 1800s and it's like 1,000,000 pages long, that it's like very engaging and fast paced and like an adventure novel. So I do really want to get to this one. My Book to Screen reading club is reading this in April and May, so I definitely need to get to this, but I don't know. Okay, and then I have one more that I'm also thinking of, that I can think of, that is a translated work. That is The Three-Body Problem by Cixin Liu. I hope I'm saying that correctly. So this is translated from Mandarin, and this is a very beloved and well-known sci-fi novel. I really want to get to this one because there actually is a Netflix show that I've heard is great, and I am someone who, if I'm watching a show that's very like sci-fi, like science mathy, I love to have read the book because otherwise I'm like kind of lost in the sauce. I'm hoping that this kind of gives Project Hail Mary, The Martian, but I know it's going to be less kind of like heartwarming than those ones. But I felt like even in Project Hail Mary there was a ton of math and science, and like I'm like not a math and science girl. Like you're here on my book channel, like I'm a reader. I can't even add. So I do want to challenge myself though to read more science fiction. I've been loving science fiction this year, which is like totally random for me. It's not my typical genre, but this is following, we start in the era of the Cultural Revolution in China in like the 1960s, And then we fast forward to the early 2000s, and basically what I think happens is that aliens, extraterrestrial life, are coming into contact with the globe, and I think there's like a camp of people that are on board and want to be, I don't know, what's the word, like just like inviting and welcoming and like show them humanity. And then there's obviously a group of people who want to like fight them because that's like what humans do. But this is also like a lot of physics. The three-body problem is like a mathematical problem that I think has just like never been solved. I don't know, you guys, like don't quote me, this is kind of embarrassing. Something about if you have three like objects of mass in space, they won't act in an orderly fashion, they act like chaotically, and that's confusing to physicists for some reason. I don't know, you guys, I don't know if that's right, but apparently we are using like that three-body problem to solve this problem with the aliens. And then we also have like a video game in here, like a virtual reality video game that I think is like helping them solve the problem of the aliens. This is also a trilogy and a Netflix show, like I said. So I'm leaning towards this one because I really want to watch this show, and I just want to challenge myself to read more science fiction. So what book is this? 3? The third book is The Three-Body Problem. And this is prompt number 4? Okay. A genre that you don't usually reach for. Okay. Oh, there she goes. She's focusing kind of. Okay. A genre you don't usually reach for. This one is fun. I could do science fiction, but I just picked a science fiction one, so I kind of don't want to do the same one again. The other genre that I'm thinking of is thrillers, because historically I never ever read thrillers. I am like a romance, lit fic, historical fiction like girl, and thrillers usually really upset me, but I read 2 thrillers last month and like really enjoyed it. So, and I also just picked up a couple new thrillers, so I'm thinking that could be really fun. The first one that I have is Slow Horses by Mick Herron, and this is an Apple TV show. If you can't tell, I really like book adaptations, and I love to read a book and then watch the show. Like, I'm a very visual learner, but I have trouble visualizing in my head. Like when I'm reading, it's kind of hard for me to see what's going on. So I love when there's like a show, because then I like can picture better what's happening. And I just feel like if the book and the show are done well, they just really complement each other. I love to like see a story in multiple mediums. So that's why I'm drawn to this one. I believe this is a long series, and this is a very like well-known spy novel author. I'm definitely not a spy novel girl. I don't think I've ever read one, so this would definitely fit the prompt. But this is set in London, and we are following this group of washed up M15 spies, and they're called Slow Horses. And I think what happens is that, okay, so a young man gets taken and kidnapped, and the Slow Horses like band together, and they see this as their opportunity to like get back on top, you know, as like detectives and spies. And so they're like gonna solve this problem, I think. I don't know, I'm not like explaining this very well, but I think that this one would be a really fun read, and if I like it, it's a very long series, which could be fun to get into. So that's option 1. And then I also have coming up due at the library, I don't know why I always say due. I don't know what you call that. Available soon on Libby, I have Best Offer Wins. So the person who wants to buy this house starts doing very crazy things to be able to be the buyer that gets like their offer accepted. And I've heard that people don't love this one, but they enjoy it, and that it's not too scary. And that's what I look for in a thriller, is like real estate. I mean, how scary can real estate be? So I don't know. I do want to read this one. If I don't read this one in April, I will definitely read it in May. I also think this cover is so cute. And then last, I also just picked this up at the bookstore literally yesterday. This is The Keeper by Tana French, and this is also a thriller, and Tana French is like beloved, well known, and I've never read any of her books. The woman who was checking me out at the bookstore was so sweet, and she was like, oh, I absolutely love Tana French. She is amazing at place and like the environment, and you feel very like atmospheric and immersive in her reads. And she's like, they're very like almost like literary fiction, really building the plot as opposed to like fast-paced thriller reveals. And I was like, oh, that's exactly what I like to read. And it kind of reminded me of The God of the Woods and how that was kind of like lit fic thrillery. This is about a small town in Ireland and a girl goes missing, and then we have Cal Hooper, sorry, who is, I think, like the detective, and he's trying to find her. I think Cal Hooper is like the main detective in this whole series, I think. So I think I'm gonna choose this one because I'm looking for like an atmospheric lit fic kind of thriller. I also might get to Best Offer Wins this month, but I definitely want to put The Keeper by Tana French on the TBR. So that is book number 4. Okay, prompt number 4. Come on, jar, give me something good. Choose a book based on its first sentence. Okay, that's fun. We get to do a little reading. Not that I like to read aloud, like please don't judge me. Okay, another one that I have just purchased is I Who Have Never Known Men, and everyone absolutely loves this book. Okay. Since I barely venture outside these days, I spend a lot of time in one of the armchairs rereading the books. Okay, that's not like thrilling, but it's also like, why isn't she going outside? You know what I mean? She's trapped underground. Intriguing. This one's tempting me because of how short it is too. I have some really thick ones on the TBR already with Lonesome Dove and The Keeper. Those are like very large. So this one is really intriguing me. Let's read one more. This is hard too because I can't read any of the library or my like Kindle ones because I don't have them yet. Another one that I do want to get to, I've had this on my shelf for probably 2 years, is Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. I also have this like gorgeous cover, this one a Pulitzer Prize, and I gotta get to it. It's a like Charles Dickens, I don't want to say retelling, but I think it's like James by Percival Everett, where it's like a retelling of Huck Finn, but like not, same thing. So, okay, well this is anticlimactic. First, I got myself born. Let me read the second sentence, even though that's cheating. A decent crowd was on hand to watch, and they've always given me that much. The worst of the job was up to me, my mother being, let's just say, out of it. I desperately want to get to this one, but that wasn't that intriguing. Okay, I'm gonna pick I Who Have Never Known Men because selfishly, I need a short book and I need to see what all the fuss is about. Knowing myself and kind of my like weird taste, I think that this could really be a 5 stars for me. So I'm going to add I Who Have Never Known Men as the 5th book on my TBR. Okay, the 6th one, this might be the final one because these are pretty chunky books, but we will see. They all kind of stick together. Okay. A book you've pre-ordered? Oh yes, this is the best prompt. Okay, can you see that? A book you've pre-ordered. This is like, thank you. I have pre-ordered several books in April because April has amazing releases. First up, we have American Fantasy by Emma Straub. This is coming out April 7th, and this is a lit fic, contemporary fiction book with kind of a romance subplot. We are following a woman who's recently divorced, and she goes on this like 1990s boy band cruise. And so this is like a middle-aged, coming of age, like finding yourself again as an older woman. Not older, but older than a typical coming of age novel where they're like 17. I love, love, love Emma Straub. I'm a huge fan, so I cannot wait to read this one. And then another one that I cannot wait to read that I've pre-ordered that comes out April 7th is Yesteryear. This is one of my most anticipated releases of the entire year. We are following present day this tradwife influencer who is, you know, like posts all these videos about like slow living and like homesteading and like nothing artificial and all of that. And she has several children, I believe, and then she gets pulled back in time to 1805. And it's this commentary, I think, on how some people kind of idealize the simpler life. And then we are looking at, well, what does it actually mean to live without electricity or running water or the comforts of modern life? I think this is going to be very satirical and just very, very interesting given our world. And I just can't wait for this one. I really, really am excited. I could also do, I don't know if this counts as pre-ordering because I selected this for my book of the month option, and this one also doesn't come out, I believe, until April 7th, so it's like technically kind of pre-ordering. This is Porcupines, and this is a literary fiction debut novel. We are following a Hungarian immigrant and her daughter, and their kind of experience. They live in Los Angeles, and we are following multiple timelines. So we are following Budapest before the fall of the Berlin Wall, and then Washington, D.C. in the height of the Cold War, like in the 80s, and then present day Los Angeles. I love like a family saga that is across multiple timelines and multiple like settings, and I think that this one's gonna be great. Book of the month like almost never leads me astray, but I feel like that's a little cheating for the prompt because like I kind of pre-ordered it, but it's also just my book of the month pick. So I think for this one, I am going to pick Yesteryear because I know that the second that I get that in the mail, I will be reading it. So that is the book number 6 to put on my TBR. I'm having too much fun, so let's just do one more. And sorry, let me show you. I'm like, I didn't really get any spring ones, but that's fine because it's like basically still winter here, so. Oh. Okay, yay, finally I got a spring one. Okay, a book set in spring. This is kind of hard because I guess I don't entirely know before I read it. I have one on my mind. This is, I got this in February, maybe? This is Dandelion is Dead by Rosie Storey, and I believe this is set in like April, May, June. We are following Poppy, and her sister Dandelion has passed away, and she gets Dandelion's phone when she's like going through her belongings, and she sees in her dating app that she has these messages from this guy Jake, and Poppy decides to meet up with Jake and pretend to be Dandelion. And then I think we're kind of following this very messy exploration of grief, and she gets kind of into a relationship with Jake, and then I assume he eventually finds out that she is Dandelion's sister. This I definitely think falls into the category of weird girl lit, and I think it's going to be a little unhinged, which I do always love. So that is definitely a contender. Another one that I have really been wanting to read is Anne of Green Gables. This is a classic. I think this is more of like a younger, like young adult middle grade book, and I actually never read it as a child, and it's really been on my radar. I know that it's set in spring, and I think it would just be like a fun classic that would be kind of more accessible than some classics since it is for a younger audience. So this is written in 1908, and it is set on Prince Edward Island, which since being exposed to Carly Fortune, who is a romance author, I think 2 of her books are set on Prince Edward Island, and I just was like, oh, I'm like weirdly obsessed with this Canadian island. It seems very idyllic. So that is where Anne of Green Gables is set, and we follow Anne and her adventures as she grows from a girl to a young woman, navigating school, friendships, and her new life in the community of Avonlea. This is a classic tale of imagination, resilience, and finding a home. Wait, that sounds so cute and very like, what I like about this is it's set in spring, but it also has ideas or themes of like growth and change, which is very spring, you know, everything's blooming and blossoming and changing. So I think I'm gonna put Anne of Green Gables on here, and then this is a series, so if I do enjoy it, I can read it. And then I know this is also an adaptation, and you know how I love book adaptations. So this is like absolutely perfect for me. Okay, I'm looking at the adaptation. Oh, it's from 1985. Adaptations from the 80s and 90s are so good. Okay, I'm definitely gonna read this one, and I know I can get it from the library. So that is going to be my 7th book pick for the month. So to sum up, here are the 7 books that I have picked to put on my TBR for April using my TBR jar. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you are planning on reading in April and if you're excited about any of these reads as well. Thank you as always for watching my videos. Please hit like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.